This is It Was a Thing on TV.
Spoiler number one is Dr. Lee frowns.
It stinks.
What is going on? What is going on?
Episode 96. Submission number 762. Utopia. Utopia aired on Fox from September 7th to October 31st of 2014 for a total of 12 episodes.
Well, guys, last episode we talked about a social experiment where kids ran a civilization, let's say. They ran a city, not necessarily a nation in Kid Nation, but so they sort of did like a Lord of the Flies type of thing. And we're going to talk about another series like that. And it seems just like over the last 20 years, maybe even less than that, 15 years, we talked about Kid Nation. We're going to talk about Utopia now. And also, we cannot forget when Cartman tried creating his own society in the episode The Simpsons did it, where he combined seamen, that one, yeah, with sea people to create a society. And that didn't end up well. No. Hey, just like Kid Nation, and guess what? Just like Utopia.
Yeah. This was, and stop me if you've heard this one, based on a Dutch format created by John de Mol.
Okay, what hasn't been created by John de Mol? Seriously, where should we start? Deal or No Deal?
Deal or No Deal.
1 versus 100.
1 versus 100. The Voice.
The Voice, like every single...
Big Brother.
Like every game show and reality TV format from like the last 15 to 20 years in some way is a John de Mol creation. Divided.
Yep. Okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So we can add, Divided's on the list too. So yeah, they've done many shows. John de Mol and Talpa.
Oh, Fear Factor. Do not forget Fear Factor.
And this is definitely one of those shows.
Yeah, one of those high-ambition, big-ticket items that John de Mol really wanted to see if it could work. I don't know if it worked in the Netherlands, but let's just say Fox saw something on the show and decided, rather than get into a costly bidding war for the rights to the American version, they ponied up. Are you ready for this? Actually, let me wait till Mike finishes swallowing, because he's going to spit out that whatever it is he just ate.
No, I wasn't, but yeah, go ahead.
Fox ponied up $50 million in order to avoid a costly and somewhat protracted bidding war for the rights to this show. And
they must have really liked this.
Well, here's the premise. It follows a cast of 15 men and women placed in isolation and filmed 24 hours a day for a planned year. Yeah, that doesn't sound familiar at all. The cast was create their own society and figure out how to survive. The series was initially shown twice a week, with online streaming 24/7 with 129 hidden and unhidden cameras all over the Utopia compound. So rather than the Wild West backdrop of Kid Nation, the Utopians lived in a compound, and the live streams of said compound were populated and made active on August 29th, and over 5,000 people auditioned to be one of the 15. Now, why on earth would you want to do that, I wonder?
Was money involved?
Probably. It doesn't say, but probably. Now, every month in Utopia, 3 pioneers were nominated for elimination. And the person who was eliminated would be exiled back to their everyday lives. and the streamers would be able to decide which of the new pioneers got their chance to join the cast. So yeah, it's Big Brother, Paradise Hotel, and Kid Nation all rolled into one. What could possibly go wrong? I know.
You spent $50 million to get the format rights?
Sight unseen.
Yeah.
So who were the Utopians chosen for this grand experiment? Let's find out. We have Dave, an unemployed New Yorker. Jonathan, a pastor from Tennessee. Red, a handyman from Kentucky. Bree, a veterinary assistant from California. Mike, an attorney from Manhattan. Rob, a security programmer from New Jersey. Nikki, a holistic doctor from Brooklyn. Josh, a general contractor from Salt Lake City. Hex, an unemployed Detroiter. Dedeker, a belly dancer from Los Angeles. Chris, a chili farmer from North Carolina. Bella, a real estate entrepreneur from Georgia. Amanda, a behavioral specialist from Seattle. And Aaron, a chef from Oxford, Mississippi. Now that is, if I'm not mistaken, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Only 14. Now there was the 15th was Andrea, a chef from San Diego, who did not start, huh? Before the show even premiered, things got a little bit heated. We have two pioneers seceding from the others, calling themselves the Utopia State of Freedom. And before filming began, one contestant was kicked off the show for smuggling in a cell phone to look up her castmates. So there you go. We have hooking up, getting naked, secession, fan favorites, and one person trying to sneak in a cell phone when they weren't supposed to. And that was before the first episode.
Boy, that doesn't sound like a good start.
Oh, gosh. What can we say? Now, we said every month somebody was going to be asked to leave and new people would be cycled in. Well, it just so happens that the first time that happened was not even a month in. The first person to leave actually left 2 weeks into this thing when Dave left Utopia on his own accord and was replaced with Kristen, an entrepreneur from Jamestown, New York. Also, Rhonda, a political activist, was also added. She would not last an entire week. She ended up leaving, being rejected in September 9th. So 5 days. 5 days in Utopia. And then we have another Utopian added to the cast. Taylor, a construction worker from Omaha. No one else would be added again until September 21st when we have Ernesto, a contractor from Oceanside. Then we have on September 30th, actually on September 10th, Jonathan was injured and medevaced out of Utopia. And on September 30th, Red was banished from Utopia. He was actually the first person to be banished from Utopia. And taking his place on September 30th was, this is really hard to map out here, Cal, a farmer from Portland, Oregon. And he would actually be the last person to enter Utopia. Wait, that's a lie. Katie, an animal rescuer from Sacramento, also entered Utopia, but she also wouldn't last a week. It's hard to follow, isn't it?
Yep.
But okay. Now this is easier to follow because October 25th, Bree left Utopia. October 26th, Mike left citing a family emergency. And October 31st, Rob was the second person banished from Utopia.
On the final episode.
On the final episode.
Well, technically, wasn't everybody banished after that episode?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
So a bunch of people came, a bunch of people left. There wasn't really much of a storyline. All it was Big Brother in the woods, basically.
Sort of off the grid, yeah.
Off the grid, Big Brother. People got naked, and yeah.
And the ratings for the series, they certainly didn't justify $50 million being spent.
Oh, no.
The premiere, and I remember watching the premiere, I was intrigued by the whole concept of them being in this banished society, if you will, this utopia for a year. 4.63 million people saw the premiere on September 7th. Mm-hmm. 2 days later, for part 2, the number dropped almost by half, 2.48 million.
Yeah,
and then for part 3, which aired 3 days later, September 12th, it dropped by again about another 20%, under 2 million viewers. Yeah, that's not a good sign. It did pick up for week 2, but after week 2, the ratings were under 2 million viewers for every single episode from episode 5 on. And that's not money well spent, especially when you're talking about $50 million just to acquire the rights to the TV show.
Well, what a waste of money.
Yep.
Hey, it's not my money. It's Rupert Murdoch's money.
Yeah, 50 million for Rupert Murdoch is pretty much walking around money.
Yeah, that's pocket change to him.
Yeah, that's not even the amount of money he paid for MySpace.
Well, one thing we should mention, there was a host. With like every reality show, there's a host, obviously.
There's a host? Who's the host?
Who is it?
The host, some people may be familiar with this name. I asked Greg and Chico about this before we started recording, and they both said, don't know who he is.
No.
And I said, how could you not know who this guy is? This guy is the creator of one of the funniest comic strips, in my opinion. I've loved it for it's been in this area for, I'm guessing, close to 20 years at this point, and they don't know who this guy is. His name is Dan Ferraro, and Dan Ferraro is the creator of the comic strip. It's a single-panel comic strip, not unlike The Far Side, and it's called Bizarro. And like I said, it's been in this newspaper, in the local Cleveland newspaper, I guess for close to 20 years, if not even longer. And both of them have never heard of it. And I'm like, okay, this obviously isn't as big as maybe I thought it was. But yeah, so he's a comic strip creator, artist, and he's a host of a TV show. And I don't know how that intersects, how one goes from being a comic strip writer to a host of a reality show. Because as far as I know, he had never done anything like this. He's not known for being some sort of TV personality, and really, I don't know that much about him in his normal life that he'd be involved in this. It's just very interesting, I believe.
Yeah, again, it's like he's known primarily for being a cartoonist and a political cartoonist who pretty much makes his whole things known through his comic books. But aside from that, oh yeah, he's also an author. I forgot he also wrote books. He was a book writer. The Book of Lame Excuses in 1991 comes to mind.
And also, he's had some books, some art books, not necessarily books about Bizarro or collections of Bizarro, but I picked up one of these books maybe about 10 years ago for maybe like $2 at some cheap bookstore. It was just a bizarre, and again, I use that term very loosely because I know he did Bizarro, but it was just a very bizarre book. A
Pun very
bizarre,
much intended, isn't it?
it wasn't really intended. It was just a bizarre art book. It wasn't comic strips. It was just art. And I'm glad I didn't pay more than like $2 for it because I don't think I've touched it since I first got the book. I was
More than
severely
$2.
disappointed.
That is like 100. That's God, 1/25 millionth the price of this show.
And just like Fox, it was money I regret spending.
So I guess the question, because you pretty much know what happened, or you pretty much know what happened on the show, but how did we get here? Because I have some critic blurbs. See, Fox couldn't screen the pilot because it was all live. But okay, so Brian Lowry of Variety said, if Utopia has any legs at all, it will as a cable-style freak show, not some grand experiment in democracy. Indeed, the diverse lineup seems designed to draw from various unscripted staples, a dash of doomsday preppers here, a dollop of Duck Dynasty there, and throw them together in the same blender. Which actually just makes zero sense in or out of context. Meanwhile, Willa Paskin of Slate said, Utopia's attempts to condemn the misbehavior it desperately requires from its participants strives to frame its mission in a positive light, distancing itself from the on-camera misbehavior its producers so desperately require. Through the first 2 episodes, 5 of the 8 men assembled a violent physical outburst. The female cast members avoid the trap of being portrayed as catty and vicious. As a result, they are granted no personalities at all, just a penchant for swimming naked. The first night ends with 1 case of alcohol poisoning, another of threatening sexual behavior, and 2 fights. Peraro sadly opines that so far the group is failing miserably at Utopia, as if the producer has been hoping for a dull, conflict-free Eden. So more or less, everybody was not concentrating on making some sort of grand experiments, but rather making what Fox thought was good television, and that led to, I think, one of the most common causes of a show like this failing, killed by the network. Because according to an article from The Wrap, it was basically an overwrought case of network interference. So Fox had a reality head replace Mike Darnell, the genius behind Fox's earlier reality show attempts. And like they said, $50 million to avoid a bidding war. They were looking for the next big thing after American Idol started to fall off, and the X Factor future entry, the X Factor, decided that it wasn't. Everybody did not like nice Simon Cowell. So enter Simon Andrea, the new alternative chief from Fox, and constantly butting heads with John DeMol about where to go with this format. And of course, The Wrap has this article that says, these two are at odds since David Hill, sporting event czar David Hill, rightly pointed out in the company that Utopia may be a giant, expensive embarrassment in the making. While Utopia debuted in the Netherlands as the highest rated unscripted premiere in 6 years, and remains number 1 in its time period for 10 consecutive nights, the Dutch ratings did not hold up over the show's run. So the show started with 1.4 million viewers in the Netherlands and ended with 963,000. So yeah, Fox was thinking, you know what? You don't have anything to worry about. We're Fox. I mean, we can make a show. We can make a reality show. We can we could put one with legs.
Yeah, we can write off one bad one.
They're known for taking a chance on crap. Yeah, I
they
said
are.
that.
Yeah, they do. You're right
And,
about
and
that.
remember, and this is a guy who was behind Discovery Channel's Naked and Afraid. So he sends DeMol ideas. DeMol tells his team to ignore them, and he hardly considers Andre to be his creative equal. So he was right, though. Everybody got naked in that first episode, but it didn't really do much of the way of ratings.
Nudity does not equal ratings.
No, it does not. And another fault had to do with the casting, because it was meant to bring people together so they could form a new society, but here's the thing. You can create new society, or... Okay, so Damal was in it to create society. Andre was in it to create television. So they ended up choosing people so extreme, some viewers called them stereotypical, versions of Americans that agreements were hard to come by. And this is from executive producer John Kroll. The production team might have done too well with choosing differing points of view. And the first group of pioneers had a hard time seeing eye to eye on anything in their first week in seclusion. We went over this. We literally went over this. The next two cast members nominated to join the group showed some promise of creating more harmony. This is Dana Walden, former Fox co-chairman and CEO, who said, "No one thought we were going to launch a huge ratings juggernaut, but with patience, it will grow, and we're going to have patience." Well, we were going to have patience. Everybody was going to have patience. Well, here's the thing. Fox is not known for having patience. This is a show that if this is a network that if the network puts something on Friday, it has every intent on killing it. Well, Fox put the show between Tuesdays and Friday. Then in October, they pulled it from Tuesday.
Oh, that's not good.
So that left the Friday airings. And this was just 4 weeks after the show premiered. So what is a network to do? How about this? We charge people unlimited access to the cameras for $5 a month.
Oh, $5 a month. That's really gonna bring them in. It's really gonna bring the marks in.
Mm-hmm.
Got to make money somehow. They got to recoup that $50 million one way or another.
You gotta make that scratch back.
Yeah. I don't think they ever came close to recouping their loss until, I want to say, either Empire or The Masked Singer started.
Oh, probably. Absolutely. I would probably even lean towards the latter. I'd say The Masked Singer, as big as that's become over the last 2 years, even going as far as having a tour, which unfortunately got canceled because of this whole COVID thing.
Oh.
Well, but I'm just being honest. They were going to tour, and actually I was thinking about going to their stop here because I like The Masked Singer. I'm not a big fan, but I enjoy the whole concept. And I believe the show was supposed to be here during June, which unfortunately it coincided with what would have been an international trip for me, so I couldn't go anyhow. But again, that was all null and void because of COVID.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Do you think at the tour we would have had T-Pain singing in the monster costume?
They promised there'd be celebrities there. Now, from what I read, celebrity, I think, was emphasized in terms of being local celebrities. So maybe you would have seen maybe athletes, or maybe you would have seen, local TV personalities or radio personalities, or chefs.
I would have loved to have seen Kevin Love sing in a costume. That would have been awesome.
Well, okay. Well, that would have been June, and yeah, the Cavs would have never made the playoffs. So it's possible. You never know. But they were touting local celebrities. It wasn't like they had the usual cast of characters. Oh, hey, look, it's Alonzo Bowden or Jim J. Bullock or somebody like that. It's somebody whose prime passed them up like 15 or 20 years ago.
Oh, dude, if Jim J. Bullock was singing in a costume, I'd be all over that shit.
Oh, I know you'd be.
I would be so happy.
But yeah, it looks like they promoted local celebrities more than celebrities in that like C/D tier that are just making the rounds for a paycheck. Mm-hmm. But again, we'll never know what happened. And and they did have a name host, not unlike what they do with The Price is Right Live, where they have Jerry Springer and they have Todd Newton and a certain group of hosts that go around the country. They did have, I don't remember the name because obviously it's been canceled now. It was canceled back in March, and I sort of didn't pay attention to it when I saw it was going to coincide with my trip. But they did have like a name MC. So not necessarily a Jerry Springer type, but somebody in that same realm where you've heard of him, and yeah, he may not have regular work necessarily at this time.
Now, ultimately, the article I just gave you guys also said that Simon's departure was imminent. Well, on March 2015, Simon Andreatti did leave Fox's alternative entertainment department.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that because I have a page pulled up and it says that Simon returned to London in 2015. Gosh, I wonder why.
Why is that?
Because he got let go by Fox.
I know. That's the joke.
I get it. But don't feel too bad for Simon, because right now he's the CEO of Fremantle UK.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's probably sitting on top of those cans of reruns of Bruce's Price is Right.
Yeah, and Family Fortunes and all those shows, yeah.
He's actually getting ready to bring blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank, blankety blank.
Oh yeah, blankety blanks. The UK match came back, and who's rumored to be a host of that?
I know this.
I know you know this.
Chico. I know this.
Say it.
Does Mike know this?
Mike heard it, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Ryan's stepdaddy, the master of the chasers, Bradley Walsh, baby.
Oh yeah, I did read that. Oh my gosh. The only way I think that could be more amazing is if they got Ryland to host. I'm sorry, I love Ryland on Supermarket Sweep.
Oh yeah, we can get Gary the security guard on the panel.
Gosh, I knew he was going to say that.
You could have Gary the security guard and Jodie Whittaker on the same panel.
Mind blown. Oh my gosh.
Think about that. You'd have the doctor and Gary the security guard on the same panel. How great would that be? Listen to me, Fremantle. You're sitting on a potential goldmine idea. Steal my idea. You will have ratings through the wazoo.
You have Gary the security guy with Ryland hosting, or even Ryland as a panelist and Bradley Walsh hosting. I think Greg is going to explode. I seriously think we're going to lose Greg. He's going to just like implode from all the excitement and joy.
Oh.
But enough about what's coming down the road with Fremantle UK.
Fox didn't come even close to recouping their losses for Utopia. And I'm wondering if the Dutch ever did as well. Because, if I'm not mistaken, this came out after The Voice, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So they were basically paying for this with Voice money. Which, and back when it started, The Voice was a license to print money.
I don't necessarily think there would be any money necessarily lost. And by that, what I mean is it's very possible John DeMol might have aired this series on his network, Talpa.
Uh-huh.
Because that's where a lot of his shows aired. That's where, again, Deal or No Deal aired, 1 versus 100, the original version, Ain't Taking 100 aired. A lot of his games and reality shows aired on the Talpa network, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kept it in-house and also thus minimizing the cost, or at least he's taking all the risk, not necessarily another network is taking the risk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's no idiot. He's a media genius, regardless of how you feel about his formats, whether, again, we're talking about Deal or No Deal, specifically the U.S. version, because the U.S. version does not compare to any other version. The U.K. and the Dutch versions are absolutely amazing. And obviously he's done Big Brother. Again, love it or hate it. It's a franchise around the world. Versus 100 is still big. Even still in the Netherlands, where now, because of COVID, it's now 1 versus 50.
Really?
Social distancing, yeah, it's 1 versus 50 now. So they've tinkered with the game a little bit, and obviously you can't have 100 people sitting so close to each other. So now it's 50 people.
Okay.
So I don't really think, even if the Dutch version didn't do that well, I'm sure John de Mol will write it off, or it's, again, sort of like Rupert Murdoch. It's like pocket change. It's like he dropped $1 when he was in the supermarket, except that dollar's like several $1 million because he's rich.
Yeah. Well, the format hasn't resurfaced anywhere, but you want to know what did resurface just now?
What?
Some guy wanting to sell a poster of it.
Oh,
Mike,
no.
Oh.
the music, please.
Oh, crap.
Yes, it's eBay Price is Right time. I have here a poster of Utopia, a pub poster of Utopia. The caption, "No leaders, no rules, no plumbing. Witness the birth of a brave new world."
I'll tell you this. They didn't have an arcade at Utopia, unlike Kid Nation.
They did not have an arcade on Utopia.
No, they're all too busy being naked and fighting
And doing other things.
while naked and fighting.
While naked, yeah. If you do that while you're naked and fighting, then you are a sadist. Anyway, Mike, why don't you bid first?
Does it say anything specific about the poster's size? Is it like 16 by 20 or?
It does not.
Okay. And I'm guessing it's.
Oh wait, let me take a look here. My mistake. This'll get. Okay, this is okay. Here's the description. Fans of the television show Utopia, hosted by John de Mol Jr. Yeah, that didn't happen. Will love and appreciate this. This is a promotional poster distributed by the Fox Network to one of their affiliates, and they are not sold in stores. Poster measures 27 inches by 40 inches.
Ooh, that's big. That's something you definitely want to get framed. Okay. I don't know. I for some reason I see it being expensive because it's a flop and there's probably not a whole heck of a lot out there, but also at the same time, supply versus demand. I'll go. Is it dollars and cents?
I'll make it dollars.
Okay, round dollars. Okay. I'll say $15.
Okay, you say 15. What do you say,
Me?
Greg?
I'll go $19.
Okay, so the actual buy it now price for this Utopia poster is $38.
Yes.
Ooh, Greg had half of it. If he just doubled it, he would have been on the nose.
Have we ever had a perfect bid in this segment?
No.
No, we have not.
We've been very close, but we haven't had a perfect
We've
bid.
been really close. Well, Utopia started out with the best of intentions. Let's try and create a new society from scratch. But when you combine network meddling with poor casting and bad ratings, you know what you get?
I know what you get. You get a thing on TV.
You get a thing on TV.
And not a particularly good one, or at least memorable one in a good way.
No.
Well, as always, don't forget our website. Oh, hey, we have over 100 entries up there now, so you've got plenty of stuff to listen to. So if you're going on that late summer road trip or early fall road trip, if you're making those commutes back to work nowadays, since some offices are reopening, not a whole lot, not schools, I can tell you that because I'm working from home. But yeah, if you're commuting to your job, or even if your commute's all of like 30 feet like my commute is nowadays, feel free to listen to us. You know, we're a good time killer on the road. And we've heard from people who've done that. They've downloaded a number of our episodes for a lengthy road trip, and we've occupied their time.
Yes.
It's a lot better than just like, you know, passively looking at farms in the middle of Indiana, or doing anything else with your time. Might as well listen to us. And you can find all those episodes at www.itwasathingontv.com. Besides the episodes, we have all our socials at It Was a Thing on TV, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Tumblr, and we have the Discord. And as always, please don't forget, well, first off, sharing is caring. We got to say that first because we love sharing and we love caring. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, you said you like Karen? I like Karen.
Caring.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Karen Gillan.
Well, that could be taken another way nowadays, calling somebody a Karen. No, I don't like Karens.
No. Karen Gillan's the only Karen that should be ever referred to in a positive manner.
I would agree with that. So don't forget, beyond Karen, because Karen is Sharon, or caring is sharing, don't forget to rate and review, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
And hey, remember, 5 stars, we will accept nothing less.
That's Chico who said that. I'm willing to negotiate, but I'm not as stubborn as he is. Until next week. Oh, well, episodes 97 and 98, we're getting close to 100. 2 weeks. 2 weeks until episode 100. And I guarantee that's going to be an absolutely amazing show. We're going to have so much to talk about. And we got new stuff that's going to be coming down the pipe at that time. I was actually thinking about releasing some of the new stuff with the 10,000th download, which happened on Thursday the 17th. But I'm going to hold off. I'm going to hold off till episode 100, and then I'll present what I want to reveal that day that I've been touting for the last, 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks.
So I'm curious as to what this is. Are you gonna have your very own horse that you're gonna ride in on?
And I just might. Who's gonna stop me? Probably the person that owns the horse, because I'll probably break its back. But yeah, so we're 2 weeks away from 100. But next week, 97 and 98. We're going to talk about one of the biggest disasters, and it isn't even necessarily a TV show, more than a memorable or not so memorable season of a TV show. But also, we're going to dedicate an episode to the local television scene. We want to talk about some local television. We've gathered some information about local TV, which we think is going to make an entertaining episode of the podcast. So next week should be very interesting in some ways, kind of, sort of. But it's definitely good. The second episode is going to be a little on the bizarre side, talking about the local TV stuff. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about. I know Greg has 1 or 2 subtopics he's ready to talk about, and I think Chico's the same, and I've got 1 or 2, so that should be a very a very entertaining episode, to say the least. And definitely something you're going to want to scope out online. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. This is one where we may point you in the right direction, but you've got to go see what we've discovered or found on YouTube and throughout the internet. It'll definitely be a good episode. So that's next week. Until then, as always, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate the patronage, and we'll be here starting on next Monday, the 28th, with 2 new episodes of It Was a Thing on TV. Thanks for listening. Have a good week.
Wow! Utopia.